Alan Pollock is here with us, Chief Operating Officer of Candid Inc. Candid is another CRM out there that Garrett Locklear is looking forward to hearing what you have for us this week, Alan, with the tech update.
Hey, David. Thank you for the great introduction. So, all this AI and people saying AI won't replace our jobs, or Elon Musk has scared everyone saying that the AI is coming for you. One gentleman did find his fate with AI. Unfortunately, a South Korean man was crushed to death by a robot that mistook him for a box. Here's the detail. It was a mechanical arm in a factory that lifts boxes of bell peppers. When it misidentified the man as either a box or a bell pepper, I don't know, David, but the AI made a mistake. And it did push his upper body into a conveyor belt and crushed him. He did die in the hospital, unfortunately. So AI is not perfect. We've got all this great AI going on in the industry. Just remember, people matter.
So I was going to say, you hear stories like that, and certainly that is different than what was probably thought about when you're talking about AI is going to be the end of our society as we've known it. That is just another aspect of it. But it's like that comes along with autonomous driving cars. You get to the point, like if we start trusting this too much, stay alert is the most important part of when you're working with any of this.
Yeah, now I'm just a simple, non-scientific, I definitely can't build a stealth bomber, but I can tell you this, the simple fix would be to wear some kind of little RFID beacon or something that, God forbid, the machine messes up again. It identifies that you're not a bell pepper. We'll definitely see changes, but humans and AI and machines interacting together still have a long way to go. Yep. All right, let's talk about mortgage industry stuff. Rob Chrisman said something in his, I think it was either Saturday or it was today, but I wanted to make sure I gave the credit because I read his stuff all the time. He just does such a good job. But he made this comment, really interesting. It says, you should know that caffeine increases the power of aspirin and other painkillers, which is why it is found in some medicines. And then he says, you should also know the 50-50-90 rule, which definitely applies to me, meaning Rob. Anytime you have a 50-50 chance of getting something right, there is a 90% probability you'll get it wrong. So as we continue to think we know everything and we don't want to work with advisors and we don't want to hire consultants and such, just remember the 50-50-90 rule, and that 90% of the time we can get it wrong, which is really interesting.
That is interesting.
All right. Yep. So, David, let's talk. Unfortunately, Mr. Cooper had a cybersecurity incident started on Halloween. It did. They made a short guess, which is what you should do, which is to shut their systems down. And they did stop any further attack of what was going on. There's no full detailed information as to what actually happened. But as of November 6th, they announced that they now can take payments from borrowers and provide limited information regarding a loan on its website, just because they're being very careful about their systems. However, there was a data breach of PII data, and that is what is under investigation. So you will see clearly, actually, number one, Mr. Cooper, Moody's has lowered their credit quality rating, apparently. But separately, Mr. Cooper will reach out. So if you have questions from any borrowers that you may have service with Mr. Cooper or you work directly with them, they're still working on it, and they will be reaching out to those individuals. And we talk about data security all the time, David. Anybody, any lender, any bank, any credit union is susceptible to this. It is something we have to be very careful of. And even, David, in the wake of AI, and to our listeners, what I've recently seen, there are tools out there. And there is one specifically in lending that is starting to look at ways to identify when interesting habits or deviations from a habit is found in certain data and information. I don't know, for those folks that have heard, you can deep fake a voice you can deep fake your own voice very easily. So you need to be very careful. Think about all of the hackers that are in Gmail accounts today and Microsoft accounts, and those accounts have not been set to multi-factor authentication. Which, just quick PSA, if you don't have MFA turned on and you want to, doesn't mean it's perfect, but it's better than not having it. But anyways, the point is that these people are tracking your email boxes, and then they can deep fake and pretend that they're calling you from the title agency or from the attorney with other information from your email and stating that you need to make that payment. And here's the wire information. So be very careful of that. In addition, David, let's move on to a brand new topic. That was Mr. Cooper. Housing Wire has an article. It was written in collaboration with Lender Logix. That's Logix, and it's called Why Your LOS Isn't Delivering a Bespoke Borrower Experience and What to Do About It. And they came right out in the beginning of the article and they said, hey, the LOS isn't the problem. Their technology is doing exactly what it was designed to do, but the root of every lender's dissatisfaction with their LOS is an unrealistic expectation versus the limitations of the LOS itself. And they really focus on this article. It's not that large, so Google it, and you may already have it. Really focus on talking to borrowers, resetting the next digital experience expectations, all on the point of sale. It didn't talk about automation and LOS systems. That's not what Lender Logix is looking to do. But if you want to read, it is an interesting article. Please go check it out. Just Google Housing Wire, Lender Logix. Next topic, David. This I found really interesting. We've talked about AR, which is augmented reality. And imagine wearing a pair of glasses and walking into a furniture store, and it's on their Wi-Fi. It automatically tells you what everything costs as you're looking. And you could even have a picture of your house. And when you look at something, you can blink your right eye and it automatically sticks it in your house and you can see it, right? The tech that's going to come is just wild. But CoreLogic just released, get this, Thursday of last week. It's called Scan to Sketch. It's an augmented reality-based property measuring and sketching tool to create home appraisal reports. And it's developed using their appraisal software brand, Alamode, and it's been used already, over 20,000 properties. Wow. And so far, it's been featured in over 12,000 appraisal reports. So onward and upward for them. And then finally, David, in the world of pricing engines, PP&E, you know that I was the co-founder of NILEX, New York Loan Exchange, and I know all about pricing engines, and I've managed multiple over the years. Man, the tech is so antiquated. And it has to run millions of loops. There are new vendors coming out on the LOS side too. But anyways, Poly is one of those new vendors. And there's some interesting people on the board of Poly, which I won't mention right now, but some folks that have been around our industry for a very long time. Wink. But anyways, Poly, they've just integrated with Meridian Link. And for those of you that know, Meridian Link has their own PP&E engine, but they're open to integrating with others, knowing that lenders can't use everything that you have. They have certain relationships and certain reasons to use different vendors. And so Meridian Link, it looks like they've opened up the gates and said, hey, you can come play in our playground too. That's it for this week, David. If you're interested in learning more about AI, there's so much going on. Go listen to the podcast David did with Pavan. Yeah, it's probably I haven't heard it myself, so I can't wait to go listen to it. But knowing that this gentleman, Pavan, has done so many interesting things and has been in lending his whole life, it's a good AI perspective on the mortgage industry. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to David or I. That's Allen, ALLEN, at tms-advisors.com.
Yeah, good job, Allen. Appreciate it very much for being here. Great report. Yeah, AI is seemingly taking over the world. And I feel bad about this. Condolences to the family of the guy who got wrongly identified and crushed. That's just tragic. But there are some good things that are coming out of it, far more good. And so we need to just keep our hearts and minds open to it. But it's looking at it. What's really interesting about that interview that we did with Doug Duncan, and who was, when he was at MBA, talked about AI and talked about the biggest problem is data. And he made a comment along with Adam Quinones, made the comment that unless you have been working with us and the data for many years, like I think they said 10 years, if I recall correctly, you just cannot rely on it to the degree you have. In the case of Pavan, he's been working with this for 20 years. So it's his insights into this are pretty profound. So I look forward to get your feedback after you've had a chance to listen to that podcast we released last week. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Even I'm saying that I listened to it and I'm going, dang, that was a good interview. Great information. That's a privilege Alan, you and I have working on this podcast. We get to research and share stuff. That's so exciting. Alan, thanks for being here, friend.